welcome back to another chill chat conversation. I am actually really excited about this video because it is going to be on effective communication. And I know some of you guys have watched my videos and you're like, effective communication coming from a shutdowner? Yeah, I know. I thought about the same thing. But I have been really focusing on a different view of what effective communication is and really how effective communicating is. So I'm going to break down a scenario that I was actually presented with last week. And from this scenario, it gave me great insight, and I started to do some writing on, all the takeaways that I got from it. And it was just amazing how I was really able to see fear to communicate, but how communicating actually exits the scenario, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I was presented with a scenario with a few of my clients, and they've been having issues for a while. And I seen the issues building, and I kept telling them every time they would come to me, I said, look, I appreciate you coming to me and talking to me about it, but you really need to address the person, or the people that you're having issues with, because if you don't address them, unfortunately, your situation is not going to change and it's going to get worse. And so I tried to let them just take their time, try to figure out how they wanted to say things and how they wanted to do things. But it was starting to not only become weeks, it turned into months. And I was just like, I couldn't take it anymore. I love being their safe place, and I tell them all the time that they can literally talk to me about anything and it's absolutely okay. But I kind of feel like I was starting to be the trash can. I feel like they was coming to me, dumping all of their stuff on me, and I kind of just see myself as too full. And I'm like, look, there is nothing else that I can do, because I try to bring up the conflict within group situations so it'll be easier, but then no one would talk about their issues still. So I'm like, look, I'm not about to keep on like trying to help y'all present y'all conflicts and y'all are not bringing up when I actually provide a space for you to actually bring it up. So I was starting to get frustrated. I'm like, look, I'm full. Like, you got to take the trash out. If you don't take the trash out, it's going to smell. And I'm just like, look, I can't hold all this anymore. So I finally just set all of them down. And I was like, listen, I am getting ready to open the floor for everybody to put their stuff on the carpet. I said, this is going to be very uncomfortable for some of you guys, but I believe that it's truly going to be beneficial to teach them about effective communication. And so the last time we did it, it went great, and it looked very chaotic at first, but as the conversation kept going, like, a lot of stuff was just coming out, and you can see relief after relief after relief. But anyway, that was the last time. And then this time I was just like, look, once again, I'm bringing to you guys the opportunity to get your stuff out. Whatever it is that you have to say, you have to say it. Put it on the carpet. Put it on the carpet. Because one thing that we know, a lot of people have lived in secrecy. A lot of people was raised on the concept that we push everything under the rug. We don't talk about the major issues. And that rug becomes very lumpy. And you start to see just a lot of different things transform throughout the midst of that environment, simply because a lot of things are being pushed under the rug. So I kind of gave them that scenario, and I was like, look, you guys, you coming to me is good, and I tried to help you guys, but you didn't really accept my help. So now it's on you. So I said, for whoever have anything to say, don't leave without stating your piece. So I had one to jump in, and they said what they had to say. And then I was kind of just waiting around. I was like, okay, is there anybody else? And so I already knew that the one in particular who was having a lot of struggles, who was bringing to me their struggle, I didn't even look in her direction, and she was like, well, do you want me to go? I was like, absolutely, you go ahead and go, because there is 4 young ladies, and unfortunately they just been keeping secrets with each other, and they didn't know how to voice it. And one of the ladies in particular, she is not necessarily a shutdowner, but it's more comfortable for her to just hold stuff in, because she's not really a talker. And I would tell her all the time that, look, it's okay that you're not a talker, but because you're wanting to start talking more, this is the best place to be vulnerable, because you have support and you have someone teaching you how to do it. And she also really struggled with that in her past relationship, and she really wanted to be able to practice being able to have those transparent and vulnerable conversations with her partner. So this was like a perfect thing for her. She was just kind of scared to do it, so she just had to be put in a position to where she kind of just had to. And so now you have 4 ladies who have all this tension built, which is chaotic. And so one by one, they started to state their piece. Of course, they are offended now. You got anger upon anger. Everyone is kind of just like talking to anger. These 4 particular women, they're talking to anger. And at first I kind of let it go on, because at this point I was just listening. And even though they were yelling, it wasn't getting out of hand, but it did seem chaotic. And that's okay. I did not stop it just because it started to be chaotic, because you're dealing with anger, and all they were doing was talking in anger. And so as they're talking in anger, I'm writing stuff down, because they're saying things but they're not hearing each other. I'm hearing it because I'm an outsider. They're just talking in anger. They're trying to defend their own selves, so they're not even listening to what each other is saying as far as what the conflicts really are. So I'm starting to write down some root issues that's being presented through them talking, but they're not really hearing each other. So I finally, try to stop them, and I'm like, look, you guys, all you're doing is going back and forth trying to defend yourself. You're not hearing her. You're not hearing her. Y'all not hearing each other. You're not going to go anywhere. And that is one major key that I want to point out. Whenever you try to enter into a conversation only to defend yourself, you are not going to come up with any kind of resolutions. It's just not going to work, because all you have is defense and anger. And another key thing that I want to point out is whenever you are in an angered situation, there are so many feelings that's under anger, because anger is a secondary emotion, which means that anger is only the building block of other emotions. So they have all of these underlining emotions, underlining situations, and underlining root problems that they wasn't even hearing, because all they are hearing is anger, and all their being is defensive. So I tried to, one by one, kind of point out some of the root issues that was coming up. And some of the issues that they brought to me, nothing to do really with the root issues they was presenting. It had to do with relationship, friendships and things like that. And so as we were picking through some of the root issues, it started to go from anger down a notch, down a notch, down a notch, to an actual conversation. Now, did they get loud again? Yes, but it was volume wise. It was volume. And one of the things that they really had to just step back and understand is like, look, my perception is different from your perception, and your perception is different from my perception, and that is okay. But we have to be able to take each other's perspective into accountability if we really want to be able to find a resolution somehow. So it was just so amazing, because I am watching this thing unfold, and my heart is just like going like this. It's going like this because of just the realization. A lot of people are afraid of the chaos. And if I would have stopped the conversation simply because there was chaos and people were starting to build upon their anger, nothing would have been settled. And I realized within that moment is sometimes you have to reach the point of anger to be able to filter through some of the other stuff. And that was one thing that I was really afraid of, just in my past experience. I was afraid of the reaction. I was afraid of the anger. And so I stopped. And one thing that I realized with these ladies is that if I would have stopped there, the conflict wouldn't have been resolved. Yeah, they had to reach the point to where they're like, look, we're not getting anywhere. This is pointless. And I told them, look, you guys, you're correct. This is pointless. If you're not going to take the time to listen to each other, if you're not going to take the time to try to see the other perspective, we might as well end the conversation. But we all agreed that we want a resolution. We all agreed that we wasn't going to leave until there was resolutions. So they had to talk until the anger had to cease, and they had to really just hear each other out. And that really taught me something, because like I said, oftentimes we are so afraid of the reaction. We're afraid of the reaction of that deep conversation instead of just having the deep conversation. Instead of being vulnerable, we decide to react in anger. Instead of being transparent, we go all around we talk all around the situation instead of actually talking about the situation. But that day, we had to talk about the actual root issues. And it was so amazing to be able to leave anger, put anger on the shelf, and bring about vulnerability and transparency. And I was just kind of like in disbelief. Not that I didn't believe it could happen, because I did it before, but seeing it through a new lens, because my perception of communication is so different now, even in the last month. Doing that activity with them was so different, because it allowed me to see that if you don't communicate, there is no effectiveness. And if you are afraid of the reaction of something all the time, you will never be able to get to effective communication. That was a quick little session. This is a quick video, but I really just wanted to share that with you guys, because I know there's many people out there that really fear the reaction of vulnerable conversations. They fear the reaction of being transparent. Maybe it's from their perspective. I don't want to look weak. I don't want to say how I feel because I don't want to be shut down. I don't want to be overlooked in what I feel. I don't want someone to question if what I feel is relevant or accurate, or no, it's not about all that. If you are feeling some type of way, whether someone thinks that that's petty or not, it doesn't matter. If you feel it, you have to confront the feeling. And the more you confront the feeling, the more honest you're going to be able to be with yourself and other people. That is the one thing. I started this Chill Chat channel because if you go back to the very first video I put out, I spoke about how we are not having honest conversations anymore. We're not having deep conversations anymore. And I'm finding out that it's really because of fear. And we're not getting what we need because we're so worried about everybody else. Yes, we are to take them into consideration. But when you really want to start dealing with deep root issues, and you really want to start having that effective communication, you got to put the pride down. You got to put the ego down. And sometimes it is about you taking that personal accountability and being like, you know what, you're right. Because we kept trying to, she was like, yeah, but this and this and this. I said, stop right there. I said, all you got to say is that, I said, were you wrong? Were you wrong in that situation? Can you see where she's coming from? She said, yeah. I said, well, tell her that I see where you're coming from. Stop trying to defend yourself all the time. Stop trying to prove yourself to be right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And sometimes it's about saying, look, I was wrong. I didn't see it from that point of view. And I'm glad that you pointed it out to me, because now I can see it in a different way. We don't want to put our pride aside. We don't want to put our ego aside. But I tell you, if you don't put it aside, you will not have as much effective communication as you really want to have. And what you're going to end up doing is you're going to push a lot of things under the rug. You're going to hold a lot of things in your heart. And from that, the only thing you're going to get is a explosive anger type of communication. And we all know that when it gets to that point, no one can hear each other. And there goes your communication. There goes your resolution right there. So if you guys want to start having, I know I want to start having, but if you guys want to start having those open and honest conversations, be able to put your pride down, be able to put yourself in a position to at least hear the other person's perspective. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with it. You don't have to agree with the other person's perspective, but you at least have to put yourself in a position to be able to hear that person out, because what you want to do is you want to attack the issue. You don't want to attack the other person. The other person is not necessarily your enemy. Attack the issue, not the person. And there you will have effective communication. And so I hope this video was a help to you guys. For all those who are struggling with communication, leave some tips down in the comment section. I would love to hear what you have learned about effective communication, or if there's any tips that you have for us who are struggling with effective communication. Please drop it down in the comment section. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Chill Chat channel if you want to see more conversations like this. And if you have topics to conversation that you would like to Chill Chat channel to present, please leave it down in the comment section. This is your channel just as much as it's my channel, and I want you to get from this channel what you need from this channel. But until next time, you guys, I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.